Hey guys, back again. Long time no see. Got in front of me the 59, and as you can see, it's in a offline sort of state. I'm trying to address some bearing wobble that I was experiencing in my front end, and I've got on order some bearings. I need to put my replace the bearings in my drums, and I've got the front end torn down here so that I can accomplish that. As you can see, the shoes and the backing plate, wheel cylinder, etc. are just kind of hanging, and behind that is the master cylinder with the reservoir sitting on it. I'm going to be getting rid of that. I'm a little bit done with having to take my wheel off just to service that and check the brake fluid. So I'll hopefully have you guys follow along with me in a later video as I look to replace this inline reservoir / master cylinder combo with a normal master cylinder and under the hood reservoir. So anyway, yeah, and that is the first thing I wanted to show you as I start off the videos here for today. And anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping to look into that. I know this old body style had the recess here where that sits behind the spare tire, and that's where I used to have a master cylinder reservoir, but it was just basically a little cup, and it was only made for the single circuit brakes that this car came with. I want to keep the dual circuit so I can have safety, a redundant front and rear braking system in case one lets go. I still have the other. And so that was when I decided to switch to a dual circuit, which was the master cylinder. And for ease, I just took the path of least resistance and put the integral reservoir on top of it. But that, like I say, I'm getting tired of having to remove the wheels to get at that. So what will be coming here, and I'll try to make more frequent videos, I'm going to put a bracket on this tire well here and open up the metal just enough to where I can drop brake lines down from a under the hood reservoir down to feed the new master cylinder. I'm just going to go ahead and buy a new master cylinder too, since I don't know what the condition of the one that's on the car is. And this is for anyone that's taken aback that I would do this to a 59. It is only a matter of plugging the hole or holes, and the car will be as though it never happened. So that's not a braking modification, if you will, for the purists out there. Anyhow, simultaneously, I've still got this 36 horse engine that I'm working on. And I'm having a hard time. One reason I don't make videos is because I'm so compressed for space. I've got a 2-car garage, but it's absolutely filled to the gills. And my driveway is not user friendly. So when I back out a car, it will roll down the driveway. It's very steep if I'm not watching. So it's kind of hard to get in and out and make room. So I'm doing the best I can with what I have. But on this 36er, I have been trying for the longest time to implement an oil pressure gauge and a remote starting system so I can turn this thing on the floor. And one severe challenge I've had is with regards to the the oil pressure outlet that is on the side of later engine blocks, but on these 36s, for some reason, 36 horsepower VW put the oil port right there. Let's see if I can get a good picture of it. Where's that? Right there. And so this Frankenstein brew here that you see is my attempts to come around that, or get around that limitation, and be able to use one of these dual pole, double pole oil pressure sending units. It's got one pole for the gauge and the other pole for the existing idiot light that would be in the car. And so I think I've gotten that resolved. Now I'm waiting on a VDO oil pressure gauge to get here, but in the meantime, I want to get, the reason the engine and the bell housing are separated, this old bell housing is what I use to start it. I have to have a place to mount my starter, and I don't have a good option. I don't have a cut down transmission case, so I just use this one, which is the old split case transmission that came with the 59, or one from that year at least, if it's not original to the car. And I'm trying to work out how I'm going to put a piece of plate steel onto which, or into which, I will add bends and roll this back, or fold this back to where I can put gauges. And pardon the messy thumb and the attempt to outline the pattern I needed. But you know, once I get that, I've cut a notch in this to match the notch on the engine block, and I'm trying to get it to where I can put this, basically get this plate to line up with the bolt holes, and do it in a way so that the transmission and the engine can be securely placed together, but still allow me to install this panel. I'm going to use the bolt holes, and you can't see them really, but the bolt holes on the car for the existing engine bolts, I'm going to use that to fasten this plate steel and put a nice bend in it so that it looks aesthetically pleasing. And then I'll use my hole cutter, hole saw, to cut gauges, or holes for gauges, and also my ignition key. I'm going to try and install this ignition key. So I'll have a oil pressure gauge, and I'll probably rig up a power on light lamp, and then at least one gauge, which will start with the oil pressure. That's the most important thing to me. I don't want to fire this engine up until I know that I've got good oil pressure, and I'm a little done with the test lamp way of measuring it. I want to see a gauge, and so that's where I'm headed if all works out. But I'll keep you guys updated. I don't really do a lot of live action modifications because I'm just not set up for it. I don't have good camera equipment, as you likely become aware. I'll show you the before, which is now, and hopefully the after once I'm done with that. And let's see, what other projects do I have? One second. Okay, I've got this this MIG welder. It is a Lincoln. It's an old Lincoln Weld Pack 3200 that I got at Home Depot many years ago, back in the early 2000s, I want to say. And the gun, the welding gun, let loose on it and broke, and I haven't had it working since then. I bought a new welding gun, and this mess of a cart here is a new welding gun, and I've installed a MIG welding wire or liner in it, and I'm going to be looking to feed that through, feed through some small diameter wire and get the gun, the new gun, ready for use. And the only thing then I'll have to do is buy a MIG bottle. But anyway, that is in play. Sorry for my finger there. Let's see, I've got my other engine, the big engine. I'm stalled on that. I'm just going to be honest. I'm stalled on it. I haven't made any progress because I'm hung up. The perfectionist in me is kind of hung up on the rocker arm geometry. I'm not getting that like I want it to be, and I'm trying to work through that. Okay. I'm not satisfied with the deflection and the angles that these rocker arms are making with the valves. And you can see here I've got some lightweight springs. I'm using the number 1 intake and exhaust, and you see my tape. I don't want anything going into my intake ports, and then also the number 4 side, I've done the same thing. I've put these checking springs in there, and I've got some adjustable push rods for testing this, and I've just been a little bit unpleased with what I'm seeing when I go to half lift on these valves. And these are light enough, these springs are light enough, so as you can see I can push them in with just my thumb. But anyway, I want to see no difference in one side of the rocker to the other when the valves are at half lift, and I'm stuck on that. I'm also I hope to break through my mental block or whatever's going on with me there. But also, I've got these Molle 94 millimeter pistons and cylinders that I've had since the get-go, and I might have mentioned it in a much older video than I might not have. There was a 4.5 gram difference between the heaviest piston and the lightest piston, which made it I don't want to fire this thing up with the target horsepower that I'm looking to make, 200 horsepower, and have the rotating assembly, any part of the rotating assembly, out of balance. So I've been unpleased with those. I grinded my pistons down. I ground them down to where I got the weight difference within 1 gram. But then the problem I had was I'm no machinist. I worried that I might have weakened one of the pistons. Anyway, they're bolted on right now, these Molle 94s and their cylinders. And yeah, I've got a broken pinky finger there. It's really ugly. Sorry about that. Those are what they are. However, I do have an alternative to those Molle pistons if I so choose to use them. I've got some Weisseco pistons and some AA matched cylinders over here on the bench. Okay, I've got a set of Weisseco pistons, and they're in the box still, if I can talk. These are slipper skirt pistons, and the people that packaged them wrote on all 4 that they are 411 grams. I found that to be just a little off. I don't take anything for granted, just because they wrote it on there, I wanted to weigh them, and I did. I saw that one of them was 410.8, and I wrote that also across from their 411 marking. Another was 411.5. Another, it's upside down, but it's 411.9 grams. And the other one, 411.2. So there's still about, I don't have my calculator here, I'm not a good at arithmetic, but I think there's still about a 1 gram difference, which I'm going to go with. However, I have not and do not plan to do any grinding on these pistons, so I feel more confident that they'll last longer. And they're actually quite attractive too as far as pistons go. These are the Weissachos, and they have, as I said, the slipper skirt. The skirt doesn't go all the way around. It kind of tapers on the sides here. That is unlike the Mali pistons. I've also got, the thing about these Weissachos is they cannot just be plugged in. They're 94s, but they are a little bit large, and you can't just slip them into any old 94 millimeter cylinder. It looks like there's machining that has to be done. And so I was disappointed that I couldn't use them with my Mali cylinders, which I have no problem with. It's the pistons, the Mali pistons, that I'm not happy. So I purchased a set of AA cylinders from CB Performance. These are ground out especially for those Weissachos, and I'm waiting to do anything more with this. You know, what I'm looking to do possibly is, if I get to where I just can't stand those Malis, I'm looking to put these on. But before I do that, I've got to do some measuring. I want to know the piston to liner clearance, and I'm waiting on a 3 to 4 inch outside micrometer that I can use to measure the skirts on these Weissachos. And again, that's not something I will probably do on camera. I might, but what you guys will all see, if I can be a little more continuous with my video uploads, is you'll see the after effect once I've installed them into the cylinders, and maybe when I put them on the engine if I decide to. But anyway, that's something that's in the works here. And I think lastly here, I want to make reference to some sheet metal work that's got to be done inside the car. I'm going to try to take you all inside the Bug, the 59 here, and show you one problem that has dogged me ever since I had this car. That package tray, about midway in the frame of view here, is a seam, the gap. There's a package tray, and behind that is the engine compartment. I won't try to get up in there to show you, but it is rusted out. And so ever since I've had this car, I've had engine noise and fumes coming inside the cabin as I run the engine and drive the car. It's never been a pleasant thing. So I'll show you what my solution for that is here in a moment. I've also, let's see, I can get in there. I don't believe I can, but there's a couple of more holes where those holes are in the cross members that I long ago replaced. They're under the back seat. I'm not going to try to go in there, but just suffice it to say that they have holes where the heater tubes, which no longer exist, entered from the back of the car into the cabin of the car. And those holes, I'm not using my heater here in the North Carolina climate. Those holes just need to be plugged for now. And at the same time I fix this package tray issue, I will look to do those bottom cross members too. So now that's the issue. Now where's the solution to the issue? Okay, that is behind the car. I've got a new piece of sheet metal with that piece that's rotted now on the car. This is a good friend down in Florida gave me this, and hopefully he's watching the video. I'm going to trim this as needed and scab the metal off of it and put that into the car. If I look through the rear window here, excuse my misspeak, now in this light you can see the rot that's in there. That metal needs to be cut out. Anything that I section off from this piece is going to be installed into the car. I lost my lighting once again, but I'll make a matching cut across this piece that's in the car now, and I might remove the top 2 inches of that. I'll mask it off, make a cut, and then make a matching cut with probably a little bit of a lip on the new sheet metal piece, so that I can for now attach it with sheet metal screws until my welder is up and running, and I'll use that to mock it up, and ultimately I will do a seam weld or a end-to-end weld of the new sheet metal to the old, once I remove that, and hopefully seal off this engine compartment, which will be a welcome relief. In the entire 15 plus years I've owned the car, this has been a problem. So that's coming up. And as far as actually cutting the sheet metal, I can accomplish that in a couple of ways. I got these Eastwood tin snips, which work fantastically. They allowed me to notch that piece of plate steel sheet metal that I showed you earlier that I'm going to be mounting my gauges in. These things work great, but they're hardly the end game of cutting metal. For that purpose, I got hold of this nice Eastwood mini metal saw, and the part number, hopefully you can see it there. It's a item number 31664. It has a couple of neat features. One of which is it catches the metal chips, and you've got the ability to move it to different angles. The other feature is that it does what's called cold cutting. I don't know exactly what that is, but I can tell you the end result of it is that a lot of the sparks you'll see if you were to use a high-speed grinder or cutoff wheel, you won't get those sparks with this so-called cold cut that this tool produces. So it's about, I'm trying to remember, maybe 140 or so on the Eastwood side. I could be completely wrong about that. It may be less or more than that, but I want to say from memory it was around $140. It does not have a wheel on it, a cutoff wheel at this time, as you can see, but I'll be installing this blade as soon as I can. That or this tool will make a nice cut across the new piece as well as the old rusty metal in the car. So yeah, I'm not getting any kickbacks from Eastwood for saying that, but I would commend all of you, or recommend all of you, to go look at these parts if you are interested. If you have a need to cut metal, these things are not just for sheet metal. I want to say you can cut up to 16 gauge. I would want to back myself up on that, but they can cut some thicker metal if you do it right. Maybe even square tubing, which is probably 1/8 of an inch thick. So they're pretty robust. And that is about all I wanted to show you on the new projects. I'd like to wrap the video up by showing you a couple more little neat parts or tools that I've gotten hold of, unrelated to anything else. I guess it's loosely related to the engine work. This is a flex hone. I want to say it's a 120 grit hone, and it's specifically it's 3/4 of an inch, 0.75 inch diameter, which is a good size for your lifter bores. If you've got a new case or an old case that has some issues inside the lifter bores, maybe on a new case, the just roughness, if you use an aluminum case, this will smooth that out. I want to say it's a 120 grit, And if you're interested, the part number I want to say is that BC3412 right there. So yeah, that's nice to have tool number 1. And next on the list, and this is an Eastwood box, I'm a fan of Eastwood, have been for many years, is a burr, a carbide burr tool. This thing is great for grinding ferrous and non-ferrous metals, and it's got what's called a double tooth, and I don't know how to explain that other than it's a feature of the tooth pattern. The double tooth cut that this carbide burr, and there's the part number, would make ends up smoother than if there were a single tooth. And yeah, I think I got this off of Amazon. So this is another nice to have and helpful engine tool, you know, for porting. If you ever port cylinder heads, which I certainly don't want to try, I'm not knowledgeable enough in that, but it can be done with someone who has the right skill set. These carbide burrs are great because they don't, another feature, they don't accumulate metal and get clogged up. So they're resistant to clogging. Anyway, wanted to mention that and get ready and wrap up the video. I hope with all this randomness you haven't found it too annoying, and you know, don't hold back if you feel like this was an absolute mess of a video, or if you liked it, just let me know. I can take it either way. But I appreciate all you guys, and thanks for, if you decide to watch this video end to end, hanging in there with me. And I hopefully will have some updates to come on the status of the old car here. So appreciate you, and you guys stay safe out there. Anyone down in Florida, you have my prayers, and I feel so heartbroken about the hurricane and the loss that people down there have experienced. The worst case, some have lost their lives. But my thoughts and prayers go with you, and appreciate your viewership. And if you like this video, feel free to share it and give it a thumbs up. Or if you don't, let me know. And like I said, I can handle it. I'll try to make adjustments for future videos. Take care, and God bless everybody. Bye-bye.